Humans are weird. Would you like to hear a story about it? Hello, my wonderful viewers, and welcome to this episode of 22 Days of October Oddity. As you may or may not know, our adorable little spider alien friend quilx'tch has a campaign going on over on Indiegogo to get his research into human weirdness published. That is, he is ready to present over 60,000 words of the finest weirdness humanity has to offer. The link is below the video, so click on over and take a look. Buy a book. Now, on with the story. The main community hall at Roughened Base was never really clean or orderly. The attempt to provide furniture to fit the needs of roughly a dozen species had been successful from a practical point of view. The various relaxing devices that surrounded the one long couch provided texture and density comforting to the respective bodies that they had been designed for, but a general ignorance of color theory and the cluttered appearance made the space look more like a disordered maintenance hangar than a lounge of any sort. Though the various lounging humans and ungulates didn't seem to mind as they read, ate, or napped. The bread box-sized aliens that looked more or less like a cross between a wet mop and a loaf of bread were perhaps the main frequenters of the community hall. They were a very social species and enjoyed interspecies interactions even more than humans. They also found the frigid, arid nature of the desert base fatal for extended periods, making evening strolls inadvisable. So it was no surprise to Dr. Sharon when three of them approached him with their gripping appendages raised in greeting. He set his book aside and smiled widely at them, showing his less than perfect teeth. "Hey there, my moppy friends, what gives?" he greeted them. He had long ago given up on identifying individuals among the earth-toned ungulates, and thankfully they didn't seem to mind. "Greetings, Dr. Sharon," the one at the front of the three said, its soft, mouthless voice seeming to come from the center of the mass of drooping appendages. There was a strange sound outside the rear safety exit. Dr. Sharon nodded and closed his book. "And you wanted the big bad human to go take a look-see," he said. "Sure thing. Probably a rock rat. I'll go chase it off." He got up off the couch and ambled across the large room. He passed the storage lockers that lined the walls and ducked into the low, for a human, emergency exit at the rear. Even in the airlock chamber it was chilly, and Sharon shuddered as he stepped out the final door into the bitter desert night. He glanced around, but didn't see any of the fist-sized arthropods. He shrugged and went back inside. "They must have run off," Dr. Sharon called out as he came back to his seat on the couch. "I didn't see any." He stopped talking and narrowed his eyes. He glanced around the community room. It looked like every ungulate in the place was now grouped on the couch, their appendages pulled tight and pressing against one another. The mass was grouped where he had been sitting. Some clung to the back of the couch, some were sitting primly on the seat. Some of these were tucked against the armrest, some clung to where his legs had rested. In fact, they almost formed a near-perfect map of where his body heat would have warmed the cushions. "You heard a noise outside," he said. "That we did," one of the ungulates said cheerfully. A gripping appendage raised from out of the mass and the gesture to a spot beside them. "Thank you for reassuring us. Please sit back down." "Sure." Dr. Sharon snorted and shook his head. He eased back down onto the couch, and the mass of ungulates seemed to flex and expand to press against his side from his ankles to his shoulder. A contented sigh-like sound came from the earth-tone mass. His book was produced by an appendage, and he accepted it with a wry grin. "Must have been a quick rock rat." And that is our dose of daily weirdness for today. If you found that you like what you heard, wander on over to Indiegogo and purchase a copy of Humans Are Weird. I have the data. The link is below. If you don't want to purchase the book or find you can't at the moment, share this around if you think it's worth sharing. Hit up Facebook, Tumblr, whoever. Hit that like button, hit subscribe, and I will see you in the next chapter.